The American dream is hard to describe. For some, it's all about financial success and owning a home. For others, it represents freedom, educational opportunities, or the pursuit of happiness. However you define it, one thing is clear. Achieving the American dream comes with a hefty price tag. A new report from Investopedia projects the American dream now costs a staggering $4.4 million. Is this even attainable? And how can we reach it? Here to weigh in is Caleb Silver, Investopedia editor-in-chief. Caleb, $4.4 million. How did you come up with this number, and how does it compare to last year? And that was the first year of the report.
Yeah, 4.4 million sounds like a lot because it is a lot, but we're talking about a lifetime of earnings, right? 25 to 65. How much money you would need to have the things that we want, not necessarily need. So we were looking at what people were actually searching for on our site. We always do this. And last year, the American dream kept popping up. And it wasn't like, what is it? But could I ever attain it? And given the price of everything, especially housing, especially education, and rising costs for healthcare, more and more people felt disassociated with it. So we put this number on it. But these are the wants. We're talking about having enough for retirement, right? Having enough to pay for a wedding, raising a couple kids, sending them to a public university. So 4.4 million over that lifetime. Yes, a big number. Last year, a little bit closer to 3.5 million. But we looked at what people actually want, not the essentials like housing, right? You got to feed yourself and you need healthcare, but all these other things, having a pet, paying for a funeral, buying a few new cars over the course of a lifetime, this adds up.
So how are we seeing the high cost of this American dream change how people are actively living their lives? For example, renting versus buying a home, even the number of kids you have. How do you see these shifts sort of play out?
Right, and the funny thing is, this number is what we thought for a household, right? 3.3 people, but people make choices about their lives. Some people don't want kids, some people don't want pets, some people don't have a used car. But if you think about the things that we might want, reasonable expectations, that's where you come up with this number. So people are coming up with creative ways of putting this together. But one thing is absolutely certain. If you work for a lifetime, 40 years or so, at the median income, you're going to wind up with something like $2.8–3 million. You're going to have a gap between how much you make and how much you might need if you need money for retirement. How do you fill that gap? You have to fill that gap by investing, by owning assets. You have to have your money working for you while you're over here working and getting paid. Your money's got to be working in the background.
And how does this change depending on demographics when we talk about the racial wealth gap or even the gender pay gap as well?
Great question, because this is a big number for anybody. But when you look at the median income, that could apply to anybody. But we know people make different choices depending on the communities that they live in. People make different life choices. Again, some people might not want to have kids. Some people might have a dual income family. Having a dual income family is a great way to achieving this number and beyond. If you have two people working, even at the median income, you'll wind up with something like $5+ million over that course of a lifetime. You might be in a pretty good position to make these choices that you might want to have. Taking an annual vacation, right? Or having a pet, having a few pets over the course of a lifetime, sending kids to college. But if you look at what different generations are doing and different racial groups, they're making different choices so that they can live their American dream, whatever that is.
You mentioned investing in the stock market. Are there other things that people can do to try and reach that number and make it a more attainable goal?
Yeah, and the thing is, it's your number, so you have to come up with whatever your number is. And the most important thing we talk about, especially in financial planning, is what does it cost to be you, and what does it cost to be the you want to be? Once you get to that number, work your way backwards. So if you work your way backwards, maybe that number for you is $2 million. Maybe it's $6 million. It depends on what you want ultimately. So working your way backwards from that and saying, if I make X amount and I get a raise of 3% a year for this long, but I invest and my money is compounding, that is a way for me to achieve these goals. And that's what planning is all about. But also you have to have asset ownership in this country. That's just the way it is in this American form of capitalism that we've come up with. You have to be invested and you have to have asset ownership, whether that's a home or other assets that are going to appreciate over time. You have to be in there, and you have to be in there early. The earlier you start, the better off you are. That number doesn't seem so intimidating if you start investing and saving when you're 25 versus 45.
And is there a fiscal responsibility to try and drive down the high cost of living? It was just something, as I was reading this report, especially with the election upcoming, how something like this could really play into the politics of it all.
We're already hearing it all across the campaign trail. You either hear from the Trump administration, from the Trump campaign, I should say, that the American dream is dead, it's not attainable, or you hear from the Harris campaign that we're going to try to restore it. We're going to do whatever we can, and that means potential tax breaks for home ownership, new home owners, trying to get people into the housing market, because we know that is a way to see your assets appreciate over time. But ultimately, you're the CEO of your own life. Your dream is your dream. You have to come up with that numbers. I wouldn't wait around for the government to solve that problem, because ultimately Ultimately, it's about you and how much you can invest over time and how much it costs to be the you want to be.
All right, love it. The American dream. Hopefully alive and well for most Americans, but certainly have to take a lot of steps to get there.
That's right. It's our dream.
It's our dream. It's our dream. Thank you so much, Caleb Silver, Investopedia Editor-in-Chief.
Facts.
Yeah, that was a great. He spit facts on that.
Perfect.
So you know,
Perfect.
This is the span of the American dream when you're 20s, always to your 50s and everything, and what you view as your American dream, how much you want to save in every day, which he spit major facts. So go ahead, Hakeem, man. No, go ahead, Ronnie. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ronnie. What's your take on it?
No, Caleb Silver. I love his commentary when it came to the American Dream. And he actually mentioned something I was gonna say. Right now, it's trending right now on TikTok. The American Dream is dead. He said no, it's still attainable. It's based on how you invest, pretty much on yourself. You gotta invest yourself because remember, the American Dream is your dream. No one can tell you how to live your own dream. You have the power that you can attain your own personal dream. And the number one thing he said that I took from his whole concept is if you want to reach that American dream, you have to invest. You have to hold stuff for a long period of time. And it's funny because one time I had a conversation with a friend of mine, and we were talking about the aspect of how black people tend to give up their wealth, meaning their home, after the person pretty much leave the earth. The family come together and say, you know what, I'm gonna get rid of that home. It's not worth it. Let's just split the money. No, if you keep that for a very long time, that's how you gain generational wealth. One of the generational wealth ways back in the days was home ownership. I think people need to focus on that a lot. That's one of the biggest dreams of America is having home ownership. When you understand the aspect of home ownership and also investing, bro, you're unstoppable. You can make $1.4 million. That's all I gotta say on that. Go ahead, Akeem.
Brother, you just hit it on the nail. I'm just gonna reiterate that. Before investing was even an idea, home ownership was that. Wealth was created. And when he speaks of home ownership, that also follows in other brackets, owning land, owning condos, owning buildings. So, you know what I mean? I think the American dream is very obtainable, is how you approach it. You can't say, if you only make $40,000 a year, you can't say I'm going to live in Houston. No, you might live in Sugar Land outside of Houston. You might, you know what I mean? You might live in Jupiter, Florida. You can afford a house there and commute in still, or Port St. Lucie. You can still afford houses. It's just how you approach it and how you approach that. And when he honed in on something, you got to get assets that appreciate. Cars are not assets. They're money pits. Let's just put that out there. Cars just get you from one place to another. If it can help you make money, that's it. Stocks, bonds, intellectual properties, and investing. You know what I mean? It's very, very obtainable. Yep, they sell family assets, then blame it on races. Ooh, shit, that hurt me. God
Wow.
damn.
Why High came out with the uppercut?
A dude, kid. He's telling the
came out with
truth.
nowhere with that one.
He's telling the truth. A lot of them guys in New Orleans and Alabama, all them own land and sold their grandmama house.
Why High, man? Why you had to man?
And then we got On the Spot Live. She's a real estate expert. She can even hone in on and say why real estate is always going to be important. Why striving to buy a house or a piece of land or property is going to set you up or anybody in your family. Most people get their funding for their businesses through properties.
Yeah, and also make sure you shout out to her and subscribe to her channel. But go ahead, Akeem.
Yeah, so, and that's the point on that. And I love the fact that, and I want people to straighten. No matter how old are you, you can still invest. You can still leave something. It's just that whatever bracket, if you're 25, it's best to start early. But whatever stage you're at in your life, it's the same thing with going back to school. You can always put yourself in a better position and do things better. Yeah.
You know, for example, Mutombo, you saw like I did the money he got from the NBA. You saw he went back home and invest in his homeland. Mm-hmm. That's power. But go ahead, I'm Jordan.
Oh, I want to say something that the guy didn't say either. I'm gonna say this too. Also, find somebody who shares the same American dream as you do. I want to add that. Find somebody. If you can find somebody saying the American dream as you do, it'll be easy for you guys to save, and also easier for you to buy a house and all assets and other things as well. I agree with him or Ronnie and Hakeem. You know, American Dream is still alive and everything. You just gotta figure out what you want to do, where you want to live, how much money you gonna make, how much you gonna save as well. You know, and I feel like people, especially the millennials and Generation Z's, they're kind of lost in that. You know, especially with the presidential election, how the climate is right now, and also with the inflation as well. We see all that, we get all that, but the thing is, you really can't focus on what the government's going to help you with, or what the state's going to help you with, or the local will help you with. You know, it's up to you to figure out what you want to do when it comes to the American dream. You know, people think about American dream when they teenagers, what they gonna do, what house they want to live, how many kids they want to pass or anything all like type like that. And also, what's their dream city they would love to live in. Either it could be in the city, it could be in the suburbs, rural, somewhere else, whatever. It's just it's just your for you to make that choice of what you want to do. If you want to build a marriage dream on yourself, or do you want to share your marriage dream with somebody when it comes to having kids, having a house, having the pets, and all that and everything. It's very, very important to people to know, like, hey, the American dream is still alive. Just got to focus on what you want to do, how you gonna do it, and also do you want to share with somebody. It's very, very simple as that.
Big facts, Jordan. No cap. Know what I'm saying? And now, but shout out to the 8 people that are watching us on Instagram, on Hakeem's side and on my side. And also shout out to those watching on Rumble, Kick, Twitch. Guys, make sure you follow, and also Facebook. And shout out to the lovely Bobby Bryan that's also in the building. Great to see you, sweetheart. Hello. How you doing this evening? On this Tuesday evening. And I ain't that but on your own spotlight. Guys, make sure y'all go ahead and subscribe to her channel. She has some good commentary when she talking about real estate and also other trending topics. Yes, Sherry, you see you. You say you're cooking. What's for dinner? Cleaning, and we're doing Wiz homework. You better get them straight A's in school, boy. But I'm here with listening. Thank you for always listening, Sherry. Thank you for always showing love and support. We really do greatly appreciate it. Jordan, hip hop. Another favorite topic of mine. What's going on in the hip hop world?
Let's talk about the hip hop world. Let's talk about Yo Gotti. Yo Gotti. So, Wack Muhammad, he went viral about how Yo Gotti's late brother Big Ju put a 100K hit on Young Dolph, and now Wack Muhammad thinks it's going to really come back on a record of rapper as Yo Gotti. He believes, since it's been spewed out there in the courtrooms. It's looking like that Wack Muhammad is saying that when it comes to the feds and how the feds how they take a Diddy down, how they taking the mayor down, and now they think about Wack Muhammad is like pointing at Yo Gotti, but the